So I got all my center done, which I wanted to kind of have a bit of a feel like a midnight sky, star, constellation kind of vibe. And I'm just being extra careful doing this border because I don't want the yellowy gold color sand to leave a blurred line. I want to get a really high contrast line just for extra impact on this border. So I'm just kind of building it up. I'm actually building up like a little snowbank. It's actually a little pile, because then when I put something else up against it, it won't cover over it.
So why don't you talk about little bits of abundance that have already come your way since you set the intention?
When I found the $100 bill in my pocket, I mean, obviously it wasn't like it just appeared there. I remember having $100 bill, but I thought I had somehow spent it or something, you know, doing groceries and things, and it was squished down at the bottom of my pouch. And when I was reaching, I had a $10 bill, getting some groceries, and I was hoping I hope the next bill was at least going to be a 10, maybe a 20 if I was lucky, so I could get these, you know, it was kale and a bunch of fruit. And it turned out to be 100. And I was like, wow, abundance, cool. Another thing was, for someone else it may not be a stressy thing, but for me it was just one more headachy thing amongst others. Is when things take up my time and clutter my time with things that I have to, tending to do that aren't exciting for me, and they take me out of this kind of moment. And that one of those was that my side-by-side little Ranger thing that I use for plowing and grabbing bales of hay and stuff, it was delivered when I wasn't around, so I just wasn't on top of all the little odds and ends and papers that I was supposed to be given, and ownerships and stuff like that. And you know, I was very, very busy and am very, very busy, so things can just kind of be put in the wayside. And anyways, boring. Long story short, when we went to the, whatever the license bureau or whatever it's called to get your licenses renewed and done and stuff, the lady asked for that paper and we didn't have it. And it was like, oh man, one more thing, I gotta go and find out how do I get another one. But anyways, so I was at this licensing place getting a trailer license that we were hoping we wouldn't have to buy in order to bring in our UTV side-by-side for its checkup and oil change and everything, and to make sure everything's running well, which it's not. So that was a big stress of like, how are we gonna, you know, where do we rent one, make sure it's the right size, everything. No one seemed to have anything. We looked up second-hand vehicles too, or trailers, and eventually, from Raven's amazing research, we went and bought one, spent $3,000 on it. It's a little $3,000 we were hoping we were putting into our roof of our barn. But the trailer turned out to be, the research was done well. Raven chose a very good trailer. It really, I would rather spend $3,000 on this trailer than $2,200 on something that rusts and has wood sides that break, that kind of a thing. So I know that over time, this trailer is going to turn out to be a good investment. Just wasn't the time we wanted to spend money on it. So that was abundance in itself. But also when I was at the license place getting a license for the trailer, the lady found my ownership. She goes, oh, what's that? And I go, oh, I don't know, it's something or other. And she goes, oh, that's the ownership, I'm pretty sure. Here, let me see. And so I do have the ownership. I was on top of things, I just wasn't paying attention. So we have our ownership. I don't have to go looking for one. got a $100 bill that we didn't think we had. Got a great trailer. And we've had a couple of days together with no one else here for the first time in maybe close to 6 months. So, since we've had one woofer then another woofer, which was amazing, can't complain, but we never had our privacy fully. So we had 2 days of privacy, working on the Sam Mandela, listening to cool interviews and things that we always love to do, but don't have the time to do it. And here I am, working on this wonderful Abundance Mandela, and I tell you, every moment that I work on it, something I can feel, little strings, golden threads. Maybe that's what this represents, the golden thread. There. But yeah, I can feel little tent strings being pulled and adjustments being done in the universe as I do this. And I'm not even embarrassed to say that. I'm no new cage victim here. This is work and exploration and experiments and observation, not wanting something to be and pretending it is. This is actual work that I've done for 30 years with tattoos, and I've got all the YouTube testaments and stuff from clients to prove it. And now I'm just transferring that energy work over to sand painting, and I can feel it happening. So in the true spirit of giving, anyone wants to piggyback on the energy of this, feel free to join in whatever way you feel like you want to take part in it, participate. You can just watch. You can print one of these and color it in. Get creative. Make one of your own. Get a sand painting kit. Not hard to do on the internet. These little things here are great once you clean them out, that is. Sometimes my fingernail or wrist touches the ground, and I have that moment of, oh no, is it, because that's my blind spot where my hand is over top of the painting, and there's moments where I touch the ground for a second and then wince because I think maybe I've dug a little hole in my sand or something, but so far I'm not. Did that many times in my first one and had to redo stuff. But this one is going very, very smooth. Here, a raccoon in the kitchen.
Oh, she has something in her mouth. Oh boy.
Makes me think of Walt Disney children's movies back when I was young. It's always some kind of animal running loose in the kitchen of the house when no one was there. And it always seemed to be so funny. All the cereals and flour falling everywhere and breaking open.
So how do you use your imagination when you're doing this?
How do I use my imagination?
Yeah, when you're... Do you visualize? Do you...
I don't push. I find that is the wrong method. I'm just gonna wait till he stops barking.
I think they have something to say about it.
Out the whole choir. Khaleesi is guarding her bone, for anyone that is wondering. She quite enjoys it. She enjoys the other guys wanting it. And if they don't want it, she'll kind of prance in front of them with it. Or lie down right in front of them to eat it. I've got one dog on my hip here.
Oh, yes.
Don't drop it. Please. So creativity. I don't push. Maybe I won't tell you. I don't think it's meant to be. I don't push at the creativity. Khaleesi pushes. It's all Khaleesi's creative imagination.
Isn't the perception of beauty a frequency? Like if you
I don't know.
could just see it that way, just the way you feel joy or love or...
The perception of beauty, no. Beauty is a frequency. The perception is how you tune into that frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, depending on how you perceive, you could perceive it as ugly because you could have a filter on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think beauty is a frequency.
Okay.
Would you resonate?
Yeah.
I don't know, just a thought. I don't mean I'm right. I think beauty would be a frequency, possibly. But imagination, you're going on to imagination, and its role, I've learned to not push, which would be like a surgeon who's going in slash and burn, kind of very primitive practice. And I don't mean anything wrong with primitive, obviously urban primitive. There's a very positive aspect to primitive. A very, I don't know. But I have learned to allow things to emerge, frequencies to emerge, things to settle, things to rise. Good way to exercise that is just meditating, but meditating for a long time. Because when I did a few of those 10-day silent meditation retreat, Vipassana retreats, it was great because if I tried to achieve one of those experiences that are achievable even in a 10-day sit, it would take me further away. But if I didn't try, chances are I would get there. But as soon as I got there and I went, oh wow, then I fell out of it. And then if I tried to get back there again, I couldn't. So it's the same kind of thing, I find. It's learning how to allow your imagination to take you somewhere. I think the hard work would be beforehand in building your beliefs. And in my belief, or my way of seeing things, not allowing your beliefs to become iced over and inflexible. The beliefs are like maps. They should be updated all the time. So I say cultivate a healthy, fluid ability to perceive, trust your heart, take things in, decide what is to be tossed and what is to be kept for the time being, and to cultivate the ability to let go of things when they're outdated and bring new things in. That cultivation and the inner child being cultivated, and if anyone hasn't done inner child work, well, I suggest you do a lot of it. Even in those that have done inner child work, I suggest you keep doing it. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't need to do inner child work. I think if anyone that hears this that right away thinks, oh, for whatever reason they don't need to, I think that's a good indication that they've got a block.
Well, it's like the
100%.
blinders are
Yeah.
on to the plight of child trafficking in the world.
Yeah, there's a good topic. I salute all the people that are out there going to different protests and speaking their word about everything in the world today. But the thing that really gets me is this, which bothers me the most, is the child trafficking that's going on right at our doorstep in Canada, in the US, in Europe, and everywhere else in the world right now. Organized rings. This information is everywhere if you want to find it, and yet no one wants to talk about it. They'll talk about women's rights or gay rights or some kind of religious rights. No one wants to talk about children's rights, to be children and to have a life and not to be taken into slavery and sexually abused ritually, and then killed and used for body parts and stuff like this. And that's horrible, but that's a reality. And I've had very intelligent people sitting around the fireside chatting with me, and I bring that topic up, or it comes up on the radio, and they poo-poo it, or they just don't, they change the topic, or whatever. And I just think, if you watch The Matrix, who are those people? Are they the Cypher, the guy who wants to eat the steak that's not really a steak, and just once he doesn't know it's not a steak, he wants to just believe and have the luxuries? I don't know. But people have some major blinders on, and aside from that topic of pedophilia, that's an example of how people have blinders. But what do you think those blinders are doing to your inner health, your mental, psychic, physical well-being? If you have blocks, you're not just allowing for children to be abused because you're not speaking out. You're allowing your inner child to be abused, because that is what's happening. Micro, macro.
As above, so below.
So, yeah.
As without, so
Yeah.
within. Yep.
Yeah. It's our outer inner child that's being at stake here. And that's one thing that does piss me off and surprise me a lot, that people are like that. Some people have told me that by even thinking about it, this issue, that it's better to not think about it and just pretend it doesn't happen, and it will go away.
Magically, it'll disappear. Yeah.
I think they've been listening to the Hicks a little too much. It's that oversimplified New Cage stuff that I really, it irritates me. But, anyways, one grain at a time. As John Lash likes to say, I'll quote him, in granular detail. If anyone knows John Lash, he's the guy that sort of has replaced Joseph Campbell in a lot of ways. And he translated the Gnostic scrolls, and therefore the Gnostic creation myth, in a non-Christian biased manner. And I consider that his greatest gift to humanity, and I found it a lot of help in my inner work. it's the best creation myth, the most complete creation myth I've ever come across, and healthy creation myth. It explains all the crap that's going on in the world and all the good that's going on in the world. Yes, McTavish? Now, it would be a little easier doing this if I didn't have to keep our big dogs out from getting close to this, because then I wouldn't have to have a barricade. But because Khaleesi, our female, has got a sore leg, we've been having to keep her in, so you know, best measures that we can do. So normally I'd be able to slide around and get to different angles of this. I don't want to move it itself because I'll joggle the sand. That would be a horrible thing. But
I can keep her occupied for a while. We'll park this right here and continue later.
Maybe we'll turn on once I'm working on the petals.
Sounds good.
The first row of petals.
Okay.
In there, I think, would be nice.
Okay. Bye for now.